Good morning, all. Welcome back to my channel. No apologies, my gay life. I'm Jeffrey Brett. Do I look good in green? You know, green is the color of growth. That's the way you need to look at it. Some people would think money. It's growth. I want to talk this morning briefly about go where you're treated best. Period in life. Go where you're treated best. I've had lots of great comments this week on my channel, and I want to thank all of you for that. And I think I've answered everybody. I hope I have. I certainly attempt to do so. If I missed you, I do apologize, but know that I read everyone that comes up. And I want to talk about something of an issue. Knowing who you are. Knowing what you want. What I mean by that issue is I said in one of my videos about shopping and not letting the grocery stores confuse you and trick you. And I put a statement in there that said, yeah, but I don't live in yeah, buts. And I'm going to explain that. Go where you're treated best and yeah, but. Now, I had a lady ask me, about my upbringing and wanted me to clarify or share some things. So that's what I'm going to do and hopefully condense this 68 years of life into just presenting 51 years of it. How's that? But I'll do it that quick. All right, look, here's the reality of it. We're living in tough times, folks. Tough times. Every generation says that. Everybody goes through tough times. And we get to participate in that because it is life as it evolves. And I want to put this out there. I feel absolutely terrible, gut-wrenching terrible of what's about to happen in our country. We have got 42 million people looking at emptiness come Saturday. EBT will not be issued, SNAP will not be issued, and Medicare benefits will start to cut with the Affordable Care Act. Now, I don't care where you sit. I don't care where you sit on a political angle, because this is not about politics. This is about humanity. When you have a country who will allow the government leaders from every angle, from every facility, to starve their people, that's wrong. That's absolutely wrong. Well, I want to say that to say this. People are predators. We're a species. We have basic needs like any other thing on this planet. Food, shelter, and water. If you have food, water, and shelter, you can survive. So things are going to get tough. They're going to get real tough for people real quick. And I feel for them. We became a prepper because knowing what was coming ahead of us and because we chose to be frugal. I grew up, I want to tell you, I grew up extremely poor, folks. Poor. I mean, welfare, if there was such a thing in the 50s and 60s. I don't think there was. There was no such thing as food stamps. That didn't come out until, I want to say the mid-60s, and that's when you got a check in the mail. You got a welfare check is what my mother got. Wasn't much, I don't know, but she got a welfare check. So I grew up on welfare. I grew up with food commodities, which meant once a month, somebody would come to our house, or we had to go to some facility. I was a child. I don't remember a whole lot other than the facts of we were poor. And we went and got commodities. That was powdered milk, and to this day I won't touch it. My mother tried to force powdered milk on it. It's just as good, add water. Bullshit. Brick cheese that was made from something other than tar. I mean, the list goes on and on. So we grew up very, very poor. So knowing that, now putting it out there, I'll tell you this. Kevin and I don't have to be frugal if we don't want to. We've got more money than we'll know what to do with in our lifetime. And we got there because we paid ourselves first. Long before we ever met one another. We paid ourselves first. Every paycheck we received, 20% of that went and put an investment in ourselves. Didn't go to corporations. It didn't go to the supermarket. It didn't go to fancy cars. We lived a basic, humble life. Growing up poor, I understood that I was going to be different from the environment that I was born into. That was an absolute, I knew I was going to be different. I wanted to be different. So life is not about choices. Life is about what happens, and what happens is how you participate in the involvement of the world around you. So go to where you're treated best. Growing up in Iowa, I grew up in a homophobic family, a Christian-based hallelujah, Lord's gonna strike you dead if you get out of line, and learning how to forage for pop bottles out of a trash can when I was in junior high school with two of my siblings so that we could get enough money to go buy a box of macaroni and cheese at the grocery store for 12 cents a box, as my mother was drunk somewhere away from the home. That's how I grew up. So when I hear people say, but yeah, what that means is you just ignored everything I said to you because you have your own agenda and your own story. I got a story just like everybody else, but my story is this. I didn't live in what ifs and yeah buts. I lived in what is. And what is going to happen for me is that I was going to be better than the environment I grew up in, so I released myself from all of that. I had to move out of my hometown, move out of my home state, and I'll tell you, because of being gay, that was a hindrance on top of it. Not only was I poor white trash and poverty, I was also gay. So I was ready to be beat down from inside my own home because my own family didn't like the fact that I was queer. I have 6 living siblings. I am the 6th in line of 7 children. Not all from the same father, go figure. And with that being said, this is what's happened. You have to learn to go where you're treated best. I left Iowa where I grew up. I moved to California when I was 27 years old. The best decision I made in my life. Now, people have got their own little tidbits about, yeah, California, land of fruit and nuts. That's a funny little smear to put out there if you're racist, right? Fruits and nuts, but it's the 4th richest fucking economy in the world. Don't get yourself wrong. So anyone who's not been to California, lived in California, much like those who say, oh, Mexico's dangerous, bullshit. If you've lived in your own environment your whole life and you listen to the noise around you, you will form opinions that aren't so. You have to live your life. I went to California when I was 26. Best thing I ever did to myself. I lived in my van for 2 months in California. I had a brother who lived there. My brother was in the Marine Corps, hoorah, with his family. They said, yeah, come stay with us till you get settled. I went, lived with them. They didn't know it until I arrived. They finally suspected, I suppose, that their brother was queer. I moved to California. 2 weeks of living with my brother, they told me I had to go. Couldn't live in the house because I was gay. And you're talking 1987. So I lived in my van. I had a van. I slept in my van on a lawn chair for a month. So I know what it's like to go without. Learn to live and go where you're treated best. My brother wouldn't treat me the best. I had to go. So I lived in my van. Hawked some jewelry I had to get enough money for a down payment for a studio apartment. Got myself a job. I mean, it goes on and on and on. I became a poor white trash welfare child. And at the age of 32, I had made myself available through some education I had. I got myself a job at Revlon. I went to work for Revlon, the largest cosmetic company in the world. Yeah, I had to pinch myself. I became the National Director of Education and New Product Development for Revlon Corporation, 625 Madison Avenue, 10 years spent with Revlon. Boy, was that a good revelation of life treats you well when you show up and allow it to do so. I learned a lot from those people that mentored me at Revlon. And after 10 years of working there, I then decided to move on and I quit. Went to college. I did. Went to college. Went and got my bachelor's degree in business and a minor in accounting. So I knew. Now, I already had a cosmetology license. Of course you did, you're queer. I already had a cosmetology license. So I knew that by cutting hair, I could take my job and my skill anywhere around this nation and get a job. That's why I did it. I went and got a minor in accounting when I went to college because I knew that if I wanted to get a job, I could get a job doing accounting anywhere in this nation and no one could take that away from me. I could do that. So that's what I did. And I got my business degree. After I got my degree in college and paid for it myself, I didn't get a student loan. I went to school as I could afford to pay for a semester. It took me about, oh golly, 6 years, but I did it. So at the end of that, getting my degree, I was on top of the world and I got hit with lung cancer. Non-smoker, lung cancer. Here, this one's gone. No lung in there, but I still breathe wonderful and I'm not a victim. I have learned to live my life with what I have. This lung cancer taught me a lot. That's when I really became aware of health. I quit eating packaged foods. I quit eating canned foods. I quit eating frozen foods. I quit eating prepped foods. I stopped drinking sodas. I stopped all that chemical bullshit because my cancer was environmental, is what I was told. I didn't create it. The environment created it somehow, and it showed up. With that showing up the way it did, it knocked me down and put me on my ass for a year in bed. I was very, very sick at that point. I still had money in the bank, thank God, because I'd taken care of myself before I paid anybody else along the way. Thank goodness I had it, because as I got sick and laid in bed, my relationship of 9 years fell apart. He had nothing to do with me because I was going to die. I have filed bankruptcy. I have been at the bottom, and I'm now again back at the top. Go where you're treated best. I was treated best by releasing toxicities out of my life. And those toxicities are bad food, bad choices, alcohol, drugs, people, and family. I got rid of all those toxins. If something isn't validating you and something isn't encouraging you and bringing benefit to your life, you don't need it. And that's how I wanted you to take a look at what we're about to face. We are going to face a nation of 42 million people who are going to lose benefits. Now, people are going to call them entitlements, and people are going to call them plights on society. Regardless of what you want to call it, the reality is you have a fellow human being in this country who's going to start hurting very, very badly. We can't take care of the world. You can only take care of yourself. I'm hopeful somehow we're going to be able to crawl out of this as a nation and crawl out of this as a people to support one another again and help one another along the way. We don't know anybody's journey in life. You didn't know mine until I just shared it with you. And that's a snippet of what's out there in my journey. I don't know your journey, but I'm certainly not going to judge you until you treat me wrong. The moment you treat me wrong, I'm going to go where I'm treated best. And I'm gone. So I don't put up with people's bullshit. I don't put up with nasty comments. I don't put up with, I don't mean on social media. I just mean in life. I just don't do that. It's never been who I am. It's who I became through a growth factor of getting rid of what ifs and yeah buts. The yeah buts are ignore what just happened, ignore what just said, because I'm going to sit here and think to myself, well, what if I live in a what is? And I invite you to become aware of who you are in this moment. Become aware of what impact you have on people's lives, and more so, your own. I invite anybody who's 50 years and younger watching my videos, there's no greater time to start planning for your future but now. And I mean money-wise. I'll close with this. The reason I'm not a big fan of Walmart is this. Walmart, for those of you who don't know, watching, they came into existence, I want to say, 25 years ago, maybe? 40, yeah, about 25 years ago. Walmart was the low price leader. They put themselves in small town America first. They closed up every mom and pop grocery store that existed. They destroyed every rural community in this country by making mom and pop shops close down to no longer sell you groceries, because Walmart put a big old facility just a mile or two outside of town, and they had everything you needed, plus more. The low price leader. After they destroyed every community in this country, in small town America, they then put themselves in big cities to where they now got the bigger money, and now that everybody was gone, they had no competition. Their low price leadership is not there. They don't even frickin' do rollbacks anymore. I say the far to roll back is to not go back. Stay out of that store. They destroyed this country on the backs of millions of people, and they treat their employees horribly, and now they're getting rid of them to come with AI. Speaking of AI, did you realize that Amazon just laid off 30,000 people because AI took over? Oh, another one. Shop at Amazon, free delivery, get it to your doorstep in 1 day or two, and everyone went, oh, we live in such a great world. Now that he controls everything at Amazon, and did you know that Amazon owns what's called One Medical? They're out here on the West Coast, on the western part of the United States. Do you know that they own CVS? Did you know that Amazon owns Whole Foods? I mean, just like Walmart, they're taking your money, these big corporations, and saying to people, they don't give a shit. You need to start giving a shit about yourself. Don't spend your money foolishly. Don't let anyone take your money. You need to give it willingly, knowing that it's only benefiting you. Thank you for letting me preach and go on. I'm sorry if I just got off tangent here, but I am very emphatically, emotionally attached to life of enjoyment. If it's toxic, got to go. Yeah, but Mama, it's not that important. Your sister's not that important. If they're going to drag you down, talk you down, and put you down, guess what? Get to stepping. Gots to go, because I have a life to live. And that's how I have lived my life since I was 17 years of age. The first time I was ever thrown out on the streets by myself to fend for myself. Yet, I was still a senior in high school. Worked a job, got a small apartment in small town Iowa, Cedar Rapids, where I grew up. And finished high school, Jefferson Senior High School, graduated, living on my own at 17. So you can do anything you set your mind to do, but you first got to know that you can do it. Don't let anybody tell you, yeah, but. Don't let anyone tell you what if. Don't let anyone say, give me your money. I say this in closing. Here's a little poem I wrote years ago. It's called, I Look Forward to When I Shall Die. I look forward to when I shall die, but today I have wings to fly and fly. A dreamer lives in fantasies alone. The joys of life, they are never known. Poor, poor fools with eyes to see are blind to how life must really be. For life is this minute, this second, this hour. Today, it'll fade, dies like a flower. Yesterday's gone, you dreamers. Tomorrow will never come. But today, I have wings to fly. Go fly, take on your day. Give me your comments. Thanks for listening. Give me a thumbs up, and let's get moving with happiness. Be kind to one another. Until next time, ciao.